Hello and welcome to our Teaching for Success Inclusive series. I'm your host, Rosa Kemirembe. Today we're going to talk about a quiet crisis. It doesn't make the front page of the Daily Monitor every day, but it affects every single one of us. From the doctor who treats you at your local clinic, the engineer who builds your house, to the lawyer that you hire. We're talking about the lack of respect for the teaching profession, specifically here in Uganda. We always say the child is the future. But ask yourself this: who builds that child? Who holds the shovel and lays the first brick of that future? It is a teacher. And right now, our teachers are hurting. Their mental health is suffering. Their wallets are empty and their spirits are broken. Today, we connect the dots between low pay, long hours, and a dangerous lack of respect. And most importantly, what can we do to fix it? Teaching is actually one of the hardest jobs that no one respects. I should know. I'm a teacher. Let's start with the hard truth. We often think the best teachers are at the top, the university lecturer, okay? The senior six specialist. I want to challenge that. The hardest teaching job is not at university level. It is in the nursery and primary school classroom. Think about it. A university lecturer gets students who already know how to read, write, count, and behave in a classroom. But a nursery or P1 teacher, they start from the absolute ground zero. They are teaching a child how to hold a pencil, how to identify and sound the letter A, how to share a crayon, how to wash their hands. You are building the neural pathways of a human being. You are the foundation of the entire education system. If that foundation has cracks, the whole building collapses. But do we pay them like engineers? No. In many Ugandan schools, especially private and low-cost schools, these teachers earn very little money. That is less than the cost of a pair of second-hand shoes in the marketplace. Some earn 150,000, some 200,000. And the hours? Teaching is not just standing in front of a class. It is not just marking books and writing lesson plans. It is working till 11 o'clock or even later, sometimes even 1 o'clock after putting the children to sleep, if you have them. It is emotional labor. It is wiping noses. It is noticing that little Sarah is quiet today because she didn't eat last night. It's mediating fights. It's calling parents who never answer. It's being a nurse, a social worker, a police officer, a judge, a parent, all at the same time. When you do all that for low pay and zero respect, what happens to you? Your mental health gets to a breaking point. This leads us to the silent killer. What is the silent killer for teachers? Mental health. We don't talk about stress, anxiety, and depression in the staff room of schools. A teacher is supposed to be a hero, but the heroes get tired. They get burned out. Imagine a teacher in a rural school in Masaka or a crowded nursery in Kampala. They're worried about their own rent. Their own child is sick at home. They haven't eaten a proper lunch because they spent their last 5,000 shillings on chalk for the blackboard. And then they walk into a class of 60 to 100 children with no resources and they're told, perform or you'll be fired. That leads to burnout. Burnout looks like this: irritability, crying for no reason, feeling hopeless, dreading the sound of children's voices. That is not a bad teacher. That is a human being who is drowning. And what's the result? Teachers leave. They go to the Middle East to be mates. They go to mobile money cells. They do anything else because they say, I can't afford to be a teacher. It will kill me. When we lose the nursery and primary teacher, we lose the foundation of education. If we don't value the mental health of the person teaching our children the alphabet, our children will grow up in a classroom full of stress and anger. So, what are the solutions beyond the pay rise? Now, of course, teachers need a pay rise. The government and school owners must pay a living wage. A teacher should not be poorer than a night guard. That is just dignity. But let's be realistic. Pay raises take time. While we wait for that, how do we help our teachers feel valued? How do we show appreciation today in the Ugandan context? So, let's talk about 3 practical ways that we can show appreciation to our wonderful teachers who we value so much. First of all, we need to respect the off hours of teachers. Parents, do not call your child's teacher at 9 p.m. on WhatsApp asking, where's the homework? Do not expect them to reply to your messages on a Sunday or Saturday afternoon. Teachers need boundaries to survive. Give them the gift of silence. They're listening to your children all day long for hours and hours. Secondly, practical appreciation is important, not just words. In Uganda, we love saying, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. But action is what we need. A parent-teacher association can pull money together for a mental health day for teachers. One Friday a term, close the school and take the teachers for lunch or a simple retreat. Or a parent who owns a salon can offer free braiding for the female teachers. A parent with a boda can offer free rides for a week or even one day. Show them that they are seen. Show our teachers that they are seen. Thirdly, the no shame mental health support. We need a peer support system, specifically for teachers. Schools should create a confidential wellness box where teachers can write down their stress anonymously. The head teacher must be trained not to punish, but to listen. Also, link teachers to low-cost counseling. Organizations like Mental Health Uganda have resources. A school can invite a counselor to come speak to the teachers once a month. It costs little, but it tells the teacher that your mind matters and you matter to us and you are valued. Now, inclusion, which is our podcast series, starts with the teacher. We talk about inclusive education for children with disabilities. We talk about including girls. We talk about supporting students who have no food to eat. They come to school hungry, no breakfast. But how can a teacher be inclusive if they themselves feel excluded? Excluded from what, you may ask? Excluded from respect, from financial safety, from mental peace. A stressed teacher cannot see the child with dyslexia. A burned out teacher cannot comfort the child who was beaten at home. A hungry teacher cannot inspire curiosity. If we want inclusive classrooms, we must first have included teachers, included in our budgets, our prayers, our phone calls, and our community support. The amount of funding that goes towards education has been decreasing in leaps and in bounds drastically. So, we will conclude here by saying, to the nursery teacher who is listening to this while marking books, to the P7 teacher who is so exhausted, to the high school teacher, we see you. To the parents, to the head teachers, and the policymakers in government. Let us stop treating teaching like a temporary job or a calling that requires suffering. No, we weren't called to suffer as teachers. I wasn't called to suffer as a teacher. I was called to enjoy my job as a teacher and be impactful, impact lives, impact children's lives for life. But we need to treat teaching like the critical profession that it is. Because without the basics of education, without the letter A, without the number 1, without the patience of a nursery teacher, there would be no doctors, no presidents, no engineers, no podcasts to hold like me. So, seriously, let's value our teachers. Let's protect their mental health. Let's build a Uganda that respects the hand that holds the chalk. Remember, the foundation of every profession is a teacher. Don't let that foundation crumble. I am Rosa Kemerembe. Thank you for listening to our inclusive podcast series, Be Kind to a Teacher, this week.